right now on 5 on your side at 10.
No surprise, it's very dry outside, but that's made for a really nice weekend the last few days. But this drought monitor doesn't tell the whole story, how dry it is compared to where we've been, and if we're going to expect any rain in the near future.
A South City hit and run caught on camera.
We need change. We need help.
We hear from the wheelchair-bound victim as police search for the suspect. But first tonight,
until we know and we can find some sort of justice for whatever was done to her, we need her name to continue to be out there.
A family clinging to hope as the investigation continues into Emily Stright's mysterious death. Good evening, everyone. I'm Robert Townsend. Tonight, a candlelit vigil was held in honor of Emily Stright. The DeSoto mother's remains were recently found months after authorities tell us she disappeared. New tonight, Annie Kroll joining us in our newsroom after speaking to family and friends about what she meant to them. Annie.
Robert, Emily's family and friends want to know what happened to the 33-year-old after spending months trying to find her.
A candlelit vigil on Saturday night to honor the life and legacy of Emily Stright.
We need her name to continue to be out there so that we don't forget about her, so that we can find justice for her and her kids and the rest of us. I want it as much as they do.
A Jefferson County mother of 4 described by her younger sister Jessica Stright as bubbly and memorable.
She made a lasting impression. She was like a firework. She walked in the room and she was there.
A moment of silence in green, Emily's favorite color, at the fairgrounds in Hillsborough just after sunset, allowing a moment of reflection for those left with questions about what happened after her remains were found in a wooded area of DeSoto on September 28th.
The day of the events, of whatever day it ended up being, that she may have gone missing, just because there's a little gray area there in time.
Last week, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office said a person of interest had been identified in the ongoing investigation of Emily's death. Detectives say the 33-year-old disappeared on April 12th on foot, then was reported missing on April 20th.
Everything seems very suspicious, but I don't want to speak some of those words into existence. I want justice to be found and then move forward from there. So that's why I'm focusing on the vigils and letting the law enforcement do what they need to do. That way I can focus on the positivity and remembering Em.
Jessica remembering the last time she spoke to her sister around Christmas time last year.
She turned, she said, "If I never see you again, I love you." And I turned around and I said, "Don't say that," because in my brain I registered as why would you say that? But I think she knew that she was just going to stay somewhere else and wasn't going to be at my mom's for the next few days. So she meant as if I don't see you again while you're in town. So I turned around, went back and hugged her again and said, "No, I love you." But that was the last time we ever spoke.
We've reached out to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office for any updates in this case, but have not heard back at this time. Tomorrow, another candlelit vigil will be held at Latterman Park in Belleville from 5:30 to 7:30 tomorrow night. It will exactly be 6 months since Stright's family first filed that missing persons report.
One more thing. What'd you say, Lindsay? We gotta say it again, huh?
I just asked her if she married me, guys.
Tonight, a special moment for a man who survived being shot in the head years ago. It's a story 5 on your side has been following for almost 3 years now. Just before Thanksgiving of 2021, Christopher Smith was on a date with Leslie Reeves when the couple was shot by her ex-boyfriend. Now, Reeves died. Smith was seriously hurt. Smith suffered several strokes and was paralyzed on the left side of his body. This summer, the longtime musician made a comeback to the stage. During his last show of the year at Wintez Defiance Roadhouse, Smith proposed to his current girlfriend, Michelle, who said yes. Smith tells 5 on your side he hopes his own survivor story encourages others to never give up.
So people can see what I'm doing, what I've accomplished, and they now can realize what they're able to accomplish. And no matter what it is in life, if you're injured, anything, you can come back from it and succeed at it.
Even though we met after what happened, I don't see him in the wheelchair. I just see him as the person that he is. And so that's what I fell in love with.
Smith says he'll receive a stem cell transplant next month as he continues to recover from his injuries. He says he hopes he'll be able to run once again. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Hours ago, the Grove neighborhood was packed to support both victims and survivors. The Diamond Diva Empowerment Foundation hosted the 4th annual Domestic Violence Awareness Rally and Walk in the Grove. Now, attendees were able to pick up resources for domestic violence survivors. Organizers say events like this can make a statewide impact.
We're making a large impact when it comes to our numbers have dropped from being number 3 in the country to number 7. I believe our awareness efforts as a domestic violence community over the last 4 years has helped with that, along with just we've serviced so many people throughout the whole state of Missouri.
If you or a loved one are experiencing domestic violence, you can call the national hotline at 1-800-799-7233.
I hope they get caught. I hope somebody recognizes that car.
A wheelchair-bound victim of a Soulard hit and run opens up about the crime caught on camera. The driver hit the 42-year-old Soulard man as he was walking his dog. I spoke with him last night. For the last 5 years, Joe Tyler has enjoyed his daily routine of walking his best friend, Skiff, in their Soulard neighborhood. Around 8:45 Thursday morning, the two were on the go again.
I was coming west on 12. I had the right-of-way, the green light.
Just as he and his 130-pound Newfoundland mix tried to cross the street,
A car coming down Russell, turning right on 12, went right at a red light and just barreled into my side.
Surveillance cameras from a nearby restaurant caught it on video. Joe told police a black Chevrolet Impala knocked him out of his motorized wheelchair, left him in the street, and left the scene.
I'm upset about that. And I looked up, saw that there weren't plates on the car.
You could have died.
Yeah, it was super scary.
Luckily, he didn't suffer any major injuries.
I'm hurting, Robert. My back is crunched up. I was in the ER all day yesterday. They did CT scans, x-rays. Nothing is broken. Skip, roll over. Roll over.
Look at him. His beloved Skiff is also okay.
I'm grateful he's still here with us.
Joe's wife, Karen, took him to a hospital.
It's heartbreaking to see something like that and scary, and I'm just thankful that he's okay.
So at this point, police tell us they still don't know if the driver who hit Tyler is a man, a woman, or a teenager. What is certain, that driver is still somewhere out there.
There's damage right here.
His banged up motorized wheels not riding the same now.
I hope they get caught. Kiss, good boy. I'm happy to be alive.
He and his Skiff can walk another day. Robert. A GoFundMe page is set up now to help Tyler buy a new wheelchair. You can find a link on KSDK.com under the As Seen on TV section. Today, St. Charles County gave a final farewell to a paramedic who passed away in the line of duty. 27-year-old Michael Clark was found unresponsive Monday and pronounced dead at the hospital. He was laid to rest today at Bowie Memorial Gardens. Those who worked with Clark tell us he embodied one of the values of the St. Charles County Ambulance District, especially compassion.
He was an excellent patient advocate. Michael did a great job, treated everyone like they were his family, really. He just was very respectful, very appropriate, did a great job with his care, but went that extra mile to make sure that people felt cared for.
Governor Mike Parson ordered all flags to be flown at half-staff at St. Charles County government buildings and at EMS stations statewide. Missouri Task Force 1 finally back home.
We helped a lot of people, and we're proud of that.
What the team faced while helping victims impacted by recent hurricanes. A running start on spooky season.
There's something about runners loving to get dressed up and come out and run. I don't quite get it, but people love it.
We take you to Eureka for this year's Great Go St. Louis Halloween race.
Temperatures on the climb over the next few days as we are warmer than average to finish the month. What that means for our temperatures over the next few days, and if we can sprinkle in any chances for rain over the next few as well.
Tonight, a tentative deal has been reached to end the weeks-long strike at Boeing. Right now, 33,000 members of the International Association of Machinists are on strike. The union says the offer would increase pay by 35% over the next 4 years and include a $7,000 signing bonus and increased 401k contribution. Now, the deal still needs to be ratified. A vote is scheduled for next Wednesday. Dozens of students across North St. Louis County are now better prepared for a future in construction. This morning, Clayco hosting a construction career development initiative. The program started shortly after the unrest in Ferguson a decade ago, giving high schoolers a chance to develop hands-on skills from painting and pipe fitting to project engineering. Now, some of those students even becoming mentors for the next generation.
Very hard to start a construction company. So with the fact that I'm 23 years old right now and I started a commercial union painting company, you know, like it speaks volume. I want to be that, you know, beacon of light within the community to show them like it's possible. You know, like we need more people to come back and show them it's possible to get out of poverty just like I did.
The program has 7 other workshops like this every year. If you know someone interested in joining, we have a link at KSDK.com.
Temperatures this morning were in the low 40s and mid 30s, depending on where you were, but it's not going to be quite as cold tonight. We'll talk about the shift and what that means for tomorrow afternoon as well.
Tonight, Schnook has issued a recall on ground beef sold at one of its South St. Louis locations. This affects the 90-10 ground lean beef, the 80-20 ground chuck, the 80-20 ground beef, and the 73-27 ground beef produced and sold after noon October 18th at the Loughborough location. Now, those products may contain bits of plastic. If you have bought any of these products listed, you can return the product to the store for a full refund or exchange. Right now, Schnook says no one has gotten hurt or sick due to the contaminated beef. Tonight, Missouri Task Force 1 is finally home, weeks after being deployed to the southeastern United States. The team assisted in recovery efforts in Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida following Hurricane Helene and Milton. Now, they conducted search and rescue operations along creeks, rivers, and mountains. Task Force 1 leader Randy Sanders tells us this was the longest deployment in the group's history.
It was just everywhere. There was trees down, there was wires down, there was large debris piles, there was flooded areas, buildings were collapsed. It was just a disastrous area. It was just terrible. We've seen a lot of stuff, but this was the worst that I've encountered.
Both Helene and Milton are blamed for the deaths of more than 270 people and cost the country billions of dollars in damage. Annual Great Go St. Louis Halloween race kicking off today at Kitcher Park. You can see runners got dressed up in their costumes early for the run. There are also lots of food trucks, costume contests, and of course, some candy at the finish line. The fun continues tomorrow with a 10K and half marathon starting at 7 a.m. Well, today's abundant sunshine and 70-degree temperatures made for a perfect day for those runners, but we need the rain. Meteorologist Gary Frank is here now with our weather impact forecast. Hi,
good evening. The last few mornings that we've started off with have been pretty close to average at times, but then the other times, even by Sunday, it was in the mid-50s. And of course, middle of the week, we had a couple of days, even in the city, with frost and a freeze, in some cases a hard freeze outside of the city, and we've started to trend up. Keep in mind our average low is 48 degrees, so right now we're in the mid to upper 50s in many cases. We've fallen in some spots. You'll notice those pockets of blue in the city. Of course, it's going to cool down a little bit more in the valleys as you would expect, but look off to our northwest. It's still very warm, and that's going to be the trend that probably warms us up the most on Tuesday before we see a little bit of a change. However, into the overnight hours, I'm not expecting it to be quite as cold. Low 50s in the city, mid 40s outside of the city. There will be pockets in the upper 30s, but they will be very brief. You'll see that for the most part, it is still just not going to be as chilly. We're nudging that up every single day. I do want to point your attention to a pretty strong low pressure center that's sitting right now and pretty much right over Flagstaff. But, you know, the center of that right now is working its way over the mountains, and that's where it's picking up some extra lift. And you'll see, actually, they're dealing with tornadoes in New Mexico today and into the overnight hours as the storm continues to work its way. it's really weakening as it gets close to us, but what the big thing that it's going to do is maybe give us a shot of rain as it weakens, but more so pick up our wind, more so than anything. So we have not seen much rain. That's our best opportunity by Tuesday, but we've had only a trace of rain this month. It's our driest start to the month of October. We've only seen that 4 other times since 1874. We've had this little rain to start October. We'll see what streak we create tomorrow, because it's not going to rain tomorrow, as our expected rainfall over the next few days is very low. It will be Tuesday, and then after that, we're struggling to find anything the rest of the month. There will be opportunities, but very low chances here throughout the rest of the month. And that continues to look into our drought monitor. Like I said, when you look at this, there's not much going on outside. It is dry. We've had a lot of dry air with us in place, and it's warmer than normal all the way throughout the rest of the month, and that keeps us very warm tomorrow. 78 over the next couple of days, low 80s, breezy conditions on Tuesday as it warms up, and then it'll be a little cooler in the upper 60s on Thursday, but overall, it's still very dry pretty much for the next few days, and even through Halloween probably.
Wow. Gary, thanks. Corey, what's going on in sports?
It was quite an exciting day in the world of sports around town. The Blues were gritty again. Illinois celebrated a centennial in style, and Brady Cook went from the hospital to the homecoming hero for Mizzou. Stick around. Sports is up next.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
So far this season, the Blues have showcased a few things. Most of all, they've shown that they are a team that refuses to give up. They needed some of that gumption tonight against the Hurricanes at Enterprise Center. Rod the Bod Brindamore in town with his Canes tonight. Blues down 1-0 early, but Matthew Joseph is going to light the lamp. And guess what? His brother got one of the assists on that goal. 1-1 game. Jake Neighbors would give the Blues the lead on this snipe. And then later, Dylan Holloway's first Blues goal, which he scores between his legs, makes it 3-1 Blues. The Canes battled back and tied it at 3, but like I told you, these Blues don't give up. Here comes Kasperi Kapanen, slick move, go-ahead goal in the third. The Blues win 4-3 over Carolina. Here is Matthew on having 2 Joseph brothers on the score sheet for the same goal.
Yeah, it's always cool. I mean, I think he's been playing some good hockey, and, we're still adjusting to the system, the guys, the players, everything, and, I think it's just going to get better.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
Final game of the season for St. Louis City SC, and perhaps the last game for John Hackworth at the helm. Well, we'll see. City in Minnesota tonight. Home team struck first. Robin Loeb gets through the City defense, beats Roman Berkey. That made it 1-0. 2-0 late, but Marcel Hartle gets City on the board with this shot past the keeper. However, Minnesota did pull away. They win 4-1 to end City season on a sour note. You really couldn't go wrong if you made a little college football road trip today. 2 hours west of St. Louis, Mizzou had an epic comeback. 2.5 hours northeast of St. Louis, Illinois had a signature win in their increasingly impressive season. It was time to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium as number 22 Illinois hosted number 24 Michigan and Champaign, some special uniforms to boot. The Illini were on a mission today. Luke Altmaier to Tanner Arkin, touchdown. Illinois leads 13-0 in the second quarter. Third quarter now. Altmaier going to take it himself. He loses his helmet, but he gets 6 more points. Michigan down 14 in the fourth, and the Illini ice it. Matthew Bailey, he gets the pick at the goal line as Illinois takes down the defending national champions 21-7, and the fans storm the field at Memorial Stadium on its 100th anniversary party.
To have this moment, this is what I came here for, right? I thought we could build Illinois into something that is sustainable, and this is a very big step in that direction for our fan base. To have them get rewarded, all right? They've been through 24 years of non-ranked opponents as well, right? So they've been buying tickets for a long time, and to have this moment come to life in front of us was really awesome.
It was a lot more dramatic over in Columbia, Missouri today. Auburn knocked Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook out of the game on the first drive with an ankle injury. He went to the hospital, got an MRI, and then decided he had to come back in the game. He eventually returned with his team down 17-6 late in the third. Brady led a touchdown drive with a 78-yard pass to Mookie Cooper, a scoring run from Marcus Carroll, and then a 2-point conversion of his own to make it 17-14. The defense held strong, and a resilient Cook led a 95-yard drive, capped off by a touchdown from St. Mary's alum Jamal Roberts with 46 seconds left to put Mizzou ahead for good with a 21-17 Tiger victory. It was an unbelievable homecoming from Mizzou's Warrior at quarterback.
This is everything for me, everything for my family. And you know, the days are numbered as a Mizzou Tiger, and you know, we're really cherishing these moments.
It gets me a little bit because I know he's not going to be feeling that great on that leg tonight, but I'm so proud of him.
For him to be out there and put his body on the line for us is incredible, and it ought to be inspiring to everybody that watched it.
They drove him across the street to get an MRI at the hospital, and then he came back and won the game. I've seen a lot of things at Mizzou over the years. That's right at the top.
That's a really cool. And so many eyes on that game. So many of us glad to see the Tigers
Really
win.
neat.
Corey, thanks. Gary has a final look at our weather.
Yeah, pretty good tomorrow still. Low 70s, status quo, mid 70s for the most part. We have one cooler day, one cooler morning ahead, but man, it's just going to be pretty much similar over the next few days. Breezy conditions on Tuesday, slight chance for rain. Not much here in this department. Good news for outdoor activities in the fall. Probably not great for overall for our health of some of the fields and farmers as we head into the winter.
Got to be thinking about those farmers.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, thank you. Well, that's all of our time for 5 on Your Side at 10, but we're always streaming, of course, on 5+. Saturday Night Live is coming your way next. Have a good evening, everyone.